Hi, welcome to the Purple Fox Kitchen. My name is Julie, and today we're going to make chicken fried rice. So let's get started. So what we're going to start with is our vegetables, and today I'm going to use onions, red peppers, carrots. I have some peas, I have some mushrooms. We're going to make a big batch of like veggie rice, and then I have some rotisserie chicken that I have left over, so we're going to throw that in there. If you have some shrimp, you can always throw that in there. Or you can keep it veggie, completely up to you. So I'm going to start with a carrot. So I'm going to start with the carrot. I'm going to cut the ends off. I'm going to cut it in half, and then the smaller end, I'll cut that into quarters. And now I'm just going to cut some dices. Now we're going to dice up an onion. So you want to cut the top and the bottom off, and then cut it in half. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it this way first. I can see the size dices I'm about to make, and then I'm going to turn it around. And there's perfect dices. Now I'm using a red onion today. If you don't have a red onion and you only have a white onion, that is 100% acceptable. And next I'm going to add red pepper. And the best way to cut a pepper, this one's actually really long, but the best way to cut a pepper is you cut the end off, and then you cut the top off. And then I'm actually going to cut this in half because it's so long. But then you can see, just see right through, and you can see where the ribs are. Just cut right next to a rib, and then you can open it up. So now you can easily just cut all the ribs out, all the seeds out. And this makes it so much easier to dice or to cut into strips, whatever you want. So we're going to dice this like we diced everything else. And you want to keep everything the same size. You don't have to go fast. Go slow, take your time. And because this pepper was so big, I'm only going to use half. But usually I'd probably use, if it's a smaller pepper, I would use the whole thing. And some mushrooms. Now mushrooms in their package are usually very dirty. So all you need to do is take a dry paper towel, and over the trash, just give them a little wipe. You don't need to rinse them in water. You don't want to rinse them in water. Just wipe off the dirt. It'll come off very easily, and that is how you clean a mushroom. So I only have like 6 mushrooms here. I'm not going to use the whole package. And I'm just going to slice them up. Okay, so now we're going to start to saute our vegetables. And you want to use a bigger pan because you're also going to put the rice in there, and you need a lot of space for everything that you have here. So I'm going to start with, I have some sesame oil. It's always great when you're making Asian food to use sesame oil. It gives a nice nuttiness. And I'm also going to add a little butter. About a tablespoon of butter. The combination of these two is going to give it some great flavor. Now that the butter is all melted, I'm going to add my vegetables. And these will all cook at pretty much the same time, so you can add them all together. So we're probably gonna let these vegetables cook for about maybe 6 or 7 minutes. But you wanna get them nice and soft. Maybe even 10 minutes, we'll see how it goes. So my vegetables have been cooking for about 5 minutes. They're getting nice and tender. And let me tell you, instantly that sesame oil just hits you in the face and it already smells amazing in here. So what I'm gonna do is I have my crushed garlic and my crushed ginger that I love so much. And you literally just pop it out. It's frozen. I'm gonna add 2 ginger and I'm gonna add 2 garlic. This is seriously the best invention ever. And they're just gonna melt in here and give it so much flavor. And now while this is still cooking, one of the best parts to me about fried rice is the egg. I have a little pan back here. I'm gonna turn that on. I'm gonna add a little butter. And I'm gonna take 3 eggs and scramble them. I find that if I do just 2 eggs, it's just never enough. So I'm going 3 this time. You don't have to add any milk or any water or anything in here. My veggies are looking great. You can see the ginger and the garlic has already melted right in there. Oh, this smells absolutely amazing. I'm going to turn down the heat just a little bit, maybe to like medium. I don't want them to get too much color. Now in the back here, I'll throw in my eggs. And you can use the same spatula. It's totally fine. Give these a nice little scramble. Add a little salt and pepper. Actually, I'll add a little salt and pepper to my veggies as well. Haven't done that yet. Keep scrambling these. See, those are done. And then I'm going to turn off the heat. And then just let them hang out until we're finished, and we'll throw them in at the end. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to taste my vegetables, see if they're tender enough before I add my rice. They look and smell amazing. Especially the carrots, because those are the hardest and they take the most time to cook. Oh, yum. They're great. They still have a little crunch to them. But I think it's a perfect time, because I don't want my vegetables to be super soggy or cooked too much. You still want them to have some texture. So here I have about 2 cups of white rice. It's been in the fridge. If you have leftover rice, it's fantastic to use. But you do want to use cold rice after you cook it. And I'm going to add, I have leftover rotisserie chicken. I mean, there's a million ways you can utilize this, and this is a perfect way. I have about a cup of rotisserie chicken. Some really big chunks in here still. I mean, this is a meal after all, so. So now I'm going to use a big spoon, get all of that in there. And I'm going to let the rice hang out for a while. You want to get a little texture on it. I'm going to push it down on the pan, just kind of let it hang out for about a minute or so. Now to this, I'm also going to add some sliced water chestnuts. Growing up and even now, this has always been like my favorite part of every Asian dish. So this is my preference, and I'm going to add them. I love them. I have about a half a cup of frozen peas. And then soy sauce. I always use low sodium. You want to be able to control the salt in your food. So I'm going to start with about a quarter cup. And I'm going to add that in there. And we'll see how that goes. If we have to add a little bit more at the end, we'll add a little bit more. Stir that up. Oh, this is amazing. And look at how much this cooks. I mean, this is a meal for sure. This is good for about 4 people, 2 people, leftovers the next day. This is just awesome. Okay, now I'm going to give it a taste and see where we are with the soy sauce, with the salt. It's perfect. So last but not least, I'm going to take those scrambled eggs, put those back in there. Chop it up a little bit. I mean, this is better than any Asian restaurant any day. In your own home, your family will love it. I'm going to turn off the heat. This is incredible. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one tiny little swirl around with the sesame oil again, just to give it a little bit more of that nutty flavor. Oops. And this is done. Everything's heated through. Took a couple minutes, and I'm going to serve it up, and I'll see you back here. Okay, so now I'm just ready to serve up my chicken fried rice. And as a little garnish, I'm going to use some scallions. I'm going to cut the ends off, and I'm just going to make some thin cuts here. I like the whites, so definitely don't discard them. So I'll go with the whites and go into the green. Okay. I'm going to garnish. Oh, this looks scallion. Okay. Oh, this looks so good. I'm so excited for these water chestnuts and scrambled egg. There we go. Tons of chunks of vegetables, rice, chicken. And then I also have some bean sprouts that I got for another layer of crunch. I'm just going to put a little pile right on top. little more scallion. And there you go. Chicken fried rice. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to follow me on my YouTube channel, The Purple Fox Kitchen. Make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you next time.